and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Covert.
Here.
Crowner.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Lees.
Here.
Young.
Here.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve our agenda.
So move. Support.
Motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our next item is the consent agenda. I would
Motion to
entertain-
approve is presented. Support.
Motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. All right. Council and staff reports. Greg?
Thank you, Your Honor. A couple things. The comp plan steering committee met last night for the first time. There'll be three main meetings, and then certainly invite not only the steering committee, but the council and planning and zoning to public engagement sessions we had. The website should be launching tomorrow. In your boxes, there's a survey for zoning, but on the website, there'll be a comp plan survey, and there's also an interactive map for you can place positives, negatives, things you'd like to see in the community. And we'll push this information out electronically as well. Of course, encourage you to share it, but not only to share it, but to fill it out, both the survey and the interactive map with what you'd like to see in the community or issues that you have. But we want to try to get as much participation as possible. The survey will be live for 3 months. So we want to keep encouraging folks to participate in that. I think you'll like the website, and everything will reside on there as well. So we'll certainly looking forward to getting that started. The zoning survey is a separate item, and you have a copy in your box that for when we start working on the zoning ordinance. Somewhat concurrently, but not wholly, because the comp plan also informs the zoning ordinance. Been out in the trail, preparing for that to get started. Obviously, they're starting with the bridge work. Lane closures established. They've been starting to get materials on site, and so that's moving forward. Nice to see. We had a kickoff for the website, Civic Plus website. Today, so we're excited to get that going as well. I'm going to attend the RAGBRAI meeting in Des Moines tomorrow with the committee. They're still working to get a lot of their committee chairs in place, and asked if I could attend tomorrow. Hoping going forward, I'm just doing the advisory committee meetings. And participating that day. And if anybody's interested in volunteering that day or on one of the committees, just let me know. Be happy to share your name. That last day is typically, it's just welcoming folks to the community and providing some instructions or answering questions. So if you're interested in participating, just let me know. On the budget, the schedule is so new to us. We typically are doing the budget presentation in March in preparation for an adoption prior to March 15th. Last year, the dates have changed as well. I'm looking, so council will hold a public hearing on the proposed budget on April 24th. That's to be submitted by April 30th per our schedule and all these additional steps that they've required us to do. I'm thinking of either, as soon as it's ready, either doing the presentation, the PowerPoint presentation on the 20th or the 3rd, rather than waiting until that far out, so that the information is out there to the community and to the council, and we're all on the same page. So no objections, rather than waiting until April 24th. I think I'd like to do it a little bit sooner. What do you think about that?
When you said the 20th, April 20th?
April 24th is when we'll hold the public hearing. I was thinking about doing the PowerPoint presentation that we usually do, that summarizes what we've done, March 20th or April 3rd, just to kind of get, probably April 3rd, so that we can get that information out there. If you'd rather us wait till the 24th, we could certainly do it the night of the public hearing as well.
Wouldn't it make sense to get the information out before the public hearing? So that people have time to comment?
I mean, typically historically it's done that night in preparation for it, but with this extended schedule, I think it would be better to get it out sooner. So we were thinking about April 3rd.
That's when our public hearing is.
No, that's
Yeah,
the
it
public
is.
hearing on the proposed tax levy rate, just the tax levy rate. The budget hearing is on, where you make any changes would be on the 24th.
I'm with you, but the people are going to show up and want the information for the 3rd.
Yeah, so I was thinking about doing the presentation first on the 3rd.
Yeah, they are going to get they're going to get the notice from the county that has our proposed
That goes out
max.
to everybody
Max levy.
individually. Right, and that's 525, which is not what the council had indicated. Just, we got to remember that, which is also why I wanted to get that information out for that meeting on the 3rd, which I think would be better.
There will be public hearing notices will go out, so they will have that, but this is the more detailed PowerPoint.
So we'll plan on doing that, so we get the information out in a more timely, I think, fashion for you and for the public itself. We've also started putting together kind of a list of properties. I'm calling these abandoned properties. They're not technically all abandoned properties, but these are properties that with some potential opportunity for us to work with the property owners, or work through the 657A process, or other things, so that we can continue to kind of have this list in front of us and see if we can't work with it. I still need to bring back probably a presentation on how 657A works. I don't think you guys have really
No, we haven't done.
utilized it. Burlington uses it all the time. I've used it before, but I want to kind of go through that discussion with council. And this is what that survey looks like on the zoning. So that's all I have, Your Honor. Oh, no, one other thing. Mike and Chase have been working on putting a comprehensive list together of everything that gets done. He's still talking about retirement. And we wanted to make sure that we had a kind of a comprehensive list. So we've been trying to work on that so that this could be handed off to the next individual, so.
Do we get to vote on that?
I told him I denied it, so, but
Let's make sure it's the night he's not here.
Yeah.
we'll have some more discussion on staffing here later on.
Okay, thank you. Mike's not here. Is there anything that Public Works would have?
There's the water main break with the school, that we repaired. We typically invoice for material, not staff time. I think it's probably something we need to discuss, because we do have water rate issues going forward. We did it this time, but I think it's probably a discussion point that we need to have at some point in the future. So I did have them break everything out so they could see what the actual costs were for us having to do it, rather than them contracting that out. So
Was that on our side or their side?
theirs.
Ours.
Is it at the elementary?
Where it goes in the old kindergarten.
Oh,
It's the line that they've talked about upgrading for a long time. It needs upgrading.
been there a long time, I would say.
50s, I think. 50 years or something. 50 or 56 maybe, something like that.
Jesse, anything for police?
Yes, Maverick's been doing a good job. He had a good traffic stop last week. Officer Menon did, and we wouldn't have been able to find the drugs without Maverick. We wouldn't have had a reason to get a search warrant on the vehicle, but with the open air search of the vehicle, we were able to find quite a bit of drugs in there. And this year in our budget, we have where we're going to get evidence room installed in the old meeting. Actually, it was originally built for the mayor's office, but that room there, S&G is going to start working on that project next week. They're going to come in and put the door in for us for that room. So with them, and the door and then their work is about $3,500. So it's pretty reasonable. Brad's looking through getting us some cameras, and then Eldon and Nathan's going to work with S&G and get some other things going. So that project's starting next week. Fire department, we're up to 121 calls this year. We've been very busy the last couple of weeks. Last Wednesday, we had 6 total calls, and 3 of them were, each individual call was over 3 hours each. 2 of them were house fires, and the other one was a timber fire down on Sullivan Slough Road. So we've been pretty busy here the last couple of weeks.
Okay, thank you. Anything from our building department that we want to share with the public?
Nuisances, working on nuisances, several building permits. I just dropped his information into the weekly update. I haven't gone through it yet. Have you done, if we haven't, we're going to do a flyover of the Brushtown area. He's got a comprehensive list to start it on, and pretty much every property owner in that area is going to receive some type of notice going forward. So that, I guess, project, I guess you'd call it, it will be coming forward here in the near future to get that started as well. So.
Thank you. Any other staff reports? Kelly, anything from you?
We did meet with our new pool manager. We've met with her a couple times today just to kind of hand over some information and get her started looking through the manual, and she's super excited about doing it and looking forward to getting started. And so we're going to try to meet with about every week at some point just to get her up to speed, which is really nice to have somebody that can start doing some things now rather than waiting till, the week before the pool opens, which is kind of what has happened in the past.
Won't be too long till we'll be advertising for guards, I suspect.
We are advertising for guards. We've already got a few applications, but we can take more. And the Y does now have 3 different sessions of lifeguard certification training scheduled. So she just emailed me about that. So we'll get some information out to let people know that if they want to be guards, now's the time to get that class in. So
I don't think she's notified them yet, but we do have an assistant and a head guard lined up, looks like.
Council reports? Nothing? Andy?
I apologize, I have a list tonight, so I'll be brief. Number 1, do we have a spring cleanup date?
I don't know that he's set one yet.
Okay, if we could get that on the books, I'd sure appreciate it, mostly for myself. Number 2, any discussion about a sign out near the trail work, just saying, hey, we're not just doing road work out here, we're building this new trail, like a coming 2024.
I did bring it up at the pre-con. It hasn't gone beyond that. Typically, you spread the cost out with the developer and the cities. I would like to get that up. I'll revisit that.
Okay, even a simple vinyl thing wrapped around a piece of wood or something, I mean.
On the backside of their site construction notices.
You're having a Trail Phase 2 project, but.
I'm imagining the Back to the Future sign with the coming development.
Well, if we had that LED sign up, we could put something out there too.
3, I had a request from Ragbri to use the stage that we use for the 4th of July. I'll talk to Mike Brissy about it. I just thought I'd mention it tonight. Since it's after the 4th, I'm inclined to discuss it with him, but I'll stop in and talk to Kelly and Mike. Thursday, March 21st, don't forget that is the Business of the Year Day. We will be meeting at the Winter at 11 a.m., so we'll actually meet here at like 10:45 here at City Hall, and we will go to the Winter. Don't forget it's a surprise. I'll be issuing a press release the day before, so press knows when that is, and embargoed until that morning at 11. So we'll do that the same as we did last year. And then finally started things for 4th of July. Bands are all booked, so you'll be starting to see a lot of stuff come in for that, including, was there a raffle prize delivered today?
No, the
Okay.
truck broke down, but it'll be delivered tomorrow, so they
Excellent.
said sometime.
Okay, thank you. That's my list. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Patrice?
I just want to thank Greg and Chad Bird for the collaboration and sharing the fuel tank and saving some money for both of us. And hopefully we can continue to work together and show cooperation between the two cities.
I think it's a great thing, and they'll see a savings. I mean, and if the county could come on board too, obviously purchasing power increases, hopefully costs go down. So I think it's a good thing for everybody. And I mean, right now, it could be $1.80, $2 a gallon. I was waiting to get the March numbers from Nick, but that's a significant savings in gas.
Is that a savings per gallon?
Historically,
or
we
selling?
got about 20 cents off, so this is about $1.80 to $2 less
per
savings
gallon.
per
Okay,
gallon.
that's a different number. Great, that's awesome.
So I'll get you a firm number.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing it.
Thank you.
I just had a couple quick things. One, 4th of July, thanks for leading. We got a parade that's going to happen at 4 o'clock on the 4th. Again, we'll get out official invitations to our public officials. I'll send that out this month. You're all invited if you're listening, and everybody's encouraged to enter the parade with whatever float they'd like, and we'll do it similar to previous years. Second thing, do we know the Ragbri route yet through West Burlington, or is there a route set?
It'll be officially announced by Ragbri.
Okay.
We have
So we don't know officially? Okay.
a tentative route.
Gotcha, okay. I'd like to, congratulations to the West Burlington boys basketball team for their state berth, and to our whole community for the great representation at Wells Fargo, and thank you, Fire Department, for the supporting them with the meal that you provided, and just all-around community support for our successful team. And then finally, the Comprehensive Committee, we met last night, and this is our beginning meeting to put together a comprehensive plan for a direction forward for West Burlington to codify or put in writing what our citizens want for our city. And so I encourage each and every one of you to go online, fill out the survey. If you have issues, contact City Hall, we can give you a hand. But we want to know what you want for our community between now and about 2045. So want to see something happen or different, speak up, be heard. This is a good chance to do it. That's all I have. Thank you.
I met with emergency management and one of our other committees that we're doing through the auditor's office, and I had a chance to talk with the mayor from Danville, and they are experiencing some problems with their sewage system too. I mean, I believe it's a lagoon problem that they're having, but the cost on their replacement sounds something similar to ours. And they also are regretting the fact that they didn't set aside money. They said, we're starting to now, but it's a little late, and because they're in the process that they have to do it now. It's not something in the future. So I'm glad that we're moving forward with at least projections on what we have to do with the force main. So, all right. Any citizen inquiries? Seeing none, I'll move on to new business. We have a discussion on the TIF agreement.
As I mentioned previously, the senior housing project had some issues in underwriting, mainly with water. All the property issues are cleared up, getting ready to close on the project and get the building permit submitted. As you know, Kelly and Katie have been working on that diligently. I think provided them some better information for their underwriters that'll help bring that cost down. They are requesting that our 15-year 80% be 15 years 100%. I did put together some information for the council on the application. Their preference is utilizing tax increment financing because if you offset costs on the front end, it reduces their tax credits. That said, in the TIF agreement, we included the sidewalk on Van Wees around the entire project. And that would also help alleviate some of the issues. And so they're ready to move forward. They'd ask that the council consider one of those options or combination thereof to assist them with the project and it moving forward. But they're ready to close on the property and get the building permit going. It's been a little bit of work, and heavy lifting on everybody's part. And so what I've done is provide you, I used their initial spreadsheet, 15 years out. Originally, they were going to receive, our max was $600,000, which is where the $594,000 comes from. At 80%, the difference I've noted there, and I also did 85, 90, and 95% as well, 100 being the 743. I also noted in years 16 through 20 what the city would be receiving in tax dollars. Originally, they were, wondering if the city would consider a 20-year term, but they were looking at 15 years at the time. I don't have good numbers on their sidewalk. And myself and Mike went out and did some walking and got some numbers. If the city, just from a material perspective, probably around $15,000 cost, given the amount of utilities that are in there. Local contractor could be, would certainly be more than that. And simply based on the Melville numbers and the footage, but prices have gone up, that came up to about 90 grand in roughly, if we utilize those numbers. They're asking that the city consider one or the other in support of the project. And again, the reason they prefer TIF over sidewalk or infrastructure cost up front is because if we do that, it reduces their tax credit amount. However, that said, they're willing to do either one. They'd like to move forward, and they would request some additional assistance, but it's less than it was before at this point in time. So I wanted to bring that forward for discussion and see if council would be willing to consider something additional. Want to get this project moving forward. I think it's an important project for the community. I think it's an important project for the area. I think it helps. I can't think of the term I'm looking for, but I think it is I think it helps trigger other development out there as well. And we've seen some things starting to come forward as well. Of course, the trail is going in place, and I also think it helps and works with our goals and objectives. And hopefully moving folks out of some of our core homes that perhaps need improvement and into one of the 47 senior housing units. So that's where we are today. And he did indicate this afternoon that one or the other would be appreciated. They're ready to move forward and close on the property and get the permits in and get going. So, but they won't be closing. Well, that's. I guess I'll leave it at that. Oh,
Well,
happy to.
Greg?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah. Hey, so they're asking for one or the other, whether another 5%, and that amounts to like $31,000 a year, correct? Or they're asking for the sidewalk.
They'd ask for 15 years and 100%.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we do something like a 5% increase and maybe the sidewalk. But yes, they are willing to do one or the other to move forward. I'm just a little concerned on the sidewalk numbers that I have and if they're going to be adequate. No. But they are willing to do one or the other, yes.
It irks me when we do a project and, we have it all set in there, almost signed, and then we start doing more changes and more changes. I think we're setting a big precedence myself. With that said, I think this is a very important project, and I would hate to see the project go to waste or to the side just for a little project of a sidewalk. I am not real happy about doing 85%. I think that we could get the sidewalk done. Maybe the city could put the sidewalk in themselves, and we get 15 more years of $31,000 for just a sidewalk and leave it at 80%. That's, after looking at all those figures and stuff, that makes more sense to me than anything.
And we talked briefly.
If we're going to do anything. If we're even going to do any of it.
And we talked briefly, and typically the process is we have a work session with the developer and at the beginning of a project and come up with the initial terms, go through a negotiation process, come back to council with a renewal plan update and TIF agreement, and follow the process that we did. Sometimes things change. This was an underwriting issue that was identified with our water rates. We helped bring those down, a lot of detail that Kelly had put together and examples. I think we've got that number down, not as far as they'd like it, but I think that's something that they can work with, and the underwriters would accept with the supporting documentation that Kelly had provided.
That even reassures my thoughts more. Right. We settled, probably got the water problem solved, and now they're still wanting something more, and then they're wanting something more. I think that the sidewalk is my last offer.
So, right. Now, the water project's not solved. It's just in a better position than it was.
Better position, okay. Okay.
TIF is a funny animal. It's tailored to each and every project. You have ultimate flexibility, whether you do nothing, whether you do 20 years at 100%, based on the restrictions under state code. Housing, for example, is 10 years unless it's LMI, which is, you can do additional terms on. Every project is different, and every project is negotiated individually on its own merits, and brought forward on its own merits. I don't know that I have anything else to add. I think we all know the merits of the project, 47 units, senior family home. I think it's great for the community. I think it's a catalyst. That's the word I was looking for that area out there as well. That being said, that's what the request is, and I thought I'd bring it forward tonight. Just got these numbers put together for you and wanted to bring it forward. That's the place order tonight.
Any comments from council member besides John?
Maybe just, I'm sorry, one more item. I mean, there will likely need to be some additional council action there, unless I can just initial on the sidewalk piece on the agreement. I'll have to talk to bond council on that. The legal costs are covered by the TIF. First dollars out, by the way. If it's the sidewalk, if we simply need to initial that, or if it needs some further council action, same thing with the 15%. I think that would take further, definitely further council action. So tonight, I'm just looking for what the council would be willing or not willing to do, and that I could provide to the developer and bring back for council action as required.
Well, I'm similar to John. I think it's a great project and it's good for our community, and definitely the word catalyst is it for for the area of town and for the whole community to have great housing. I've gone to 3 of their locations in eastern Iowa, and the one that I visited most like what they propose to build here in West Burlington. It'd be great. I'm so excited that if anybody with doubts, I'd like to go show them the one that I dropped in on unannounced and saw the housing and how people were able to live and got along, and it was just a really nice environment. I wish my mom would move in there, but that's not happening. Anyway, having said that, I think it's good for our community, and I want to move ahead. To help them keep this project moving forward, I am interested in supporting one or the other. I can get on board with the sidewalk and the city, us installing that, and I believe we could install a sidewalk, kind of on our timeline and our plan would work best.
We'd probably
for
do
our
it,
employees.
we'd want to do it after after their final
Yeah.
grade work is done. We would work with them, get a copy of the plan, obviously, and work with their final grade. You wouldn't want to do anything until the construction is
done.
near complete, at least, but you work with the final grade. And that may actually help us with the utilities, depending on what that final grade is, if we can stay up and not have to go down, dig down as much, so.
Therese?
No, I'm good with the sidewalk.
Sidewalk, okay. Andy?
I'm out of this one due to conflict. I'll reserve.
Okay.
My only questions beforehand were answered, and that was if we don't do the sidewalk, they are still going to do the sidewalk. So as part of the agreement, so I was happy with that.
If we did the TIF, yeah, with the TIF.
Yeah. So,
Right.
but otherwise, I'll abstain.
Okay. I like the sidewalk myself. Okay. I think that covers,
Is there any flexibility on, I'm not recommending we go up to 100%, but is there any flexibility on that 5% if it's required or necessary? He said sidewalks or TIF, and they would move forward. And
I heard or.
he said or, and they would move forward. But I just don't have solid numbers on the sidewalk, so it makes me a little hesitant. I really don't want to come back, but he did say one or the other, and he would be ready to close and move forward.
Greg, I'm at 80. I'm not at 85.
Yes.
Okay, just throwing that out there.
Sounds good?
okay, thank you. We'll move on to our
Oh,
second.
can I get a motion on that? And then I'll either initial it on the agreement, which is not signed yet because the property hasn't changed hands, or bring it back for council action, depending on what bond council says. Yeah, since it's just the sidewalk piece of it.
I motion that the city take the responsibility to install the sidewalk as part of the senior housing development at the appropriate time.
Thank you.
We'll support.
Motion and support. I think I'll take a roll call on this one, okay?
Okay. Young,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner,
Abstain.
Lees.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. Move on to item number 2, which is a letter of support to apply for the community project funding for the proposed 24-inch force main project. This is through Miller Meeks's office, as I understand.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion and support.
There's probably more information here than you need, but I wanted to make sure that you had the information on here. I put a real quick letter of support together, real quick. And then you have the facility plan is on here as well. And the information on the funding as well. In addition to this, so I'm working with both Shive Hattery, our engineers, and Southeast Iowa Regional Planning on submitting for the grant application. Shive has also provided their marketing department, and they will be looking at a one piece, really a 2-piece if you include the map for the DC trip, because you want to take something short and sweet when you talk to folks. I'm also putting something together on the Mount Pleasant piece and stormwater. but they offered their marketing team to help put that piece together on this project. So I'm taking advantage of that and then working with regional planning to get the application in with their engineers as well. Want to make sure we have a good solid application, but you don't want to take that study when you go meet with folks. You want to have a one-page handout that you can share, so.
Is there anywhere where the ammunition plant ties into our sewer?
No.
I didn't think so, but
What we've
They
talked
asked
about
us a long time ago to take it in, and we said.
is utilizing the defense funding to help fund Mount Pleasant Street.
yeah.
My other concerns are gear and agency, but my concerns with gear and agency are at the end of the project. So exactly how that may or may not be able to fit into an application. And then third, do we have a stronger application if we do a joint application with Burlington on that project as it, and things that we can directly tie to this project or projects with IAAP. And the colonel had indicated that he would support the Mount Pleasant Street project when we had met some time back. So that's still a work piece of, that is still a work in progress. But I was hoping for the same thing, but there's really nothing. We tied into water.
Yeah.
We'd gotten a STAG grant for that from DC 20-some years ago as well. So,
Okay? Yep. All right, then, I'll ask for a voice vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our final item is consider the purchase of a generator for the fire department.
It's in this year's budget to get that replaced. It works, but we have to manually turn it on at this point because somebody has to kind of sit there and babysit the current one. The new one's gonna be put outside, kind of like the generator that we have here running the city hall. It'll be natural gas fed, and a local company came back with a low bid, so they'll be able to start on the project here pretty quick.
Jesse, is the old generator a trade-in? Or any-
No, it's basically, I can show you, it's basically, it looks like a car engine sitting in the back of the station, and it's blowing water out of the exhaust every time we run it, so there's some valves and pistons and all that's fouled up on that pretty good, so, I mean, we might be able to get some money out of it, but
It's not in this quote or bid, they didn't bid it as trade-in or anything?
No.
Okay, so it's an opportunity possibly?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
but the low bid is under budget, which was
Quite- yeah,
60,000.
quite a bit. We may have to update some more electrical once they get in there and start, but, they came in quite a bit under budget of what we originally had, so,
That's good.
Those are my favorite words.
Under
Yes.
budget. Well, I entertain a motion on this then.
So moved. Support.
Motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Seeing we have no citizen inquiries at this point, I will entertain a motion to move into closed session in approximately 4 minutes.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye.